Okay, so it looks like we're live now. I believe we are.
Yeah.
So I just want to start by a short introduction and to certainly introduce Ryan Meador. He is our Director of Development. And I am Kristi Claypool and as the account manager here. And Ryan and I get the privilege of talking with you all today on a title called Company Culture, How to Live Your Brand and Promise.
Absolutely. So thank you, Kristi. It's a pleasure to be on here, hanging out with y'all. In this world we're living in right now, there's nothing better than getting together, whether it's, even if it's virtually. It's really awesome to be able to hang out. I love being able to see you, Kristi, and get to spend some time with you, which is what I'm most excited about, and being able to share what we're doing at Meador in terms of culture, how we interpret that, how we define that. And we're really just going to get started with that definition there and how we define culture and where it stems from. Are you good with that, Kristi?
I am totally fine with it. That's perfect.
Awesome. So really, we want this to be a conversation, and it's obviously going to be between the two of us. But if you have any questions, reach out. We have people monitoring that, so we can answer those for you. But let this be an open dialogue and not really just a lecture or an instruction. And in terms of culture, it's really rarely that anyway. There's no right or wrong way to do it, only guidelines set in place that really engage your people. And that's what culture is all about. So for us, it starts with defining your core values. Hopefully, as a company, you have defined core values. And again, in this world we're living in, where society is so up and down and crazed right now, honestly, it's very important that your company has a set in stone foundation of who you are and how you operate. And that is really through your core values. Our core values at Meador Staffing, we have 5, and we try to keep them simple. We have had up to 9 in the past, and Kristi, I don't know if you remember that, but they were long and they sounded great, but I don't think anybody could recite them. I don't think that we actually, brought them into question in terms of conduct or character for any of our employees. But our 5 core values are belief that we believe that everything we do matters. We are always seeking to achieve the goals. We have a heart for the people and the community. We always strive to be optimistic team players. And then we understand the value of reputation.
Yes.
Do you want to speak into those at all, Kristi, and how you interpret those and how you kind of use those every day?
Sure, yes, and I totally have to agree with you. When I looked up the definition of culture, which is said backs into core values, the word character is all over it. And these core values certainly, without character and having character, it would be really difficult to live these out loud. But culture is just a way of life. The actual definition is a symbolic communication. So it's just set by behaviors, beliefs, and it's passed along from communication to even imitation, from generation in the home and into the workplace as well.
That's so good. And if we're tying this back to our title, how to live your brand's promise, your culture is your internal brand, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's what your employees see every day, what they feel, the vibe, the atmosphere. When they step into that door or log onto the computer now, if they're at home, they should be able to feel that atmospheric vibe that your company puts out, that culture. They know who they're talking to. And at Meador Staffing, honestly, Kristi and I were chosen for this because of our experience at Meador. I have grown up in the company my whole life. I've seen the culture, I've felt the culture, and there always has been a family aspect to it, good or bad, honestly. And it's just something that if you're in the service industry, as we are serving people, it's really hard not to connect with each other on that deeper level, because you do see things, and Kristi, you can attest to this. You see things, you hear things, you witness testimonies that are just hugely impactful, whether it's your coworker or a temporary or a client. you know, you're going through these things with these people. And so the culture for us is family. Would you agree with that?
Definitely, definitely. This is certainly not my first job, but I've been with Meador for 13 years. And I have to say that this company is exactly the way Ryan described it. I feel like family, I really do. So I appreciate that. So it's easier to live these core values when you have an atmosphere that's created like this.
Absolutely. And so, really moving forward outside, once you've defined your core values as a company, how do I live that? How do I get my people to understand that? Well, there's things that you can set in place as a company, as a leadership, that you can give your people ownership over it. And one way that we do that is at Meador is we have a culture crew where we actually oversee our culture, and really it's the eyes and ears of the people, elected by the people. And I'll kind of go through that process and then let Kristi explain her point of view, because from my perspective, you know, it was from the outside creating the process, and then Kristi is from the inside getting nominated and elected, and then ultimately elected as leader of that group for this term. Our culture crew, we really saw a need to hone in on our culture after we established these 5 core values a couple years ago. Like I said, we used to have 9 core values, and they were long-winded, and again, the rhetoric was wonderful, but they weren't impactful. And so simplifying it, we said, okay, how do we manage these core values? You know, how do we let people live them and understand them and tie them to them? So we decided to create this culture crew where the employees, our company's employees, nominated through surveys, the members for each branch is represented, and even each role is represented, and there is no upper level leadership on the team. I act as a liaison or a bridge between the leadership and the culture crew itself. That way, any ideas that come about or any things that we're talking about, it's easily passed on and approved and spread out and communicated. So that's kind of how we have started it. Again, all the employees in the company, they were the ones that chose the people that serve on this committee. Leadership did not choose. And so you really see your culture represented in a diverse way, chosen by the people. You know, they chose who sits on that seat because they respect them, they trust them, and it just deepens that relationship with us and unifies us as a company, knowing that that person that you elected is sitting on there. And then that group that's elected Kristi to be the leader for this term. Kristi, how was that process for you? When it was rolled out, do you remember, like, is this good? Is this weird? And just how did it feel for you?
In all honesty, I thought it was such a fantastic idea, because the fact that, and certainly not to be ugly in any way, but the fact that it was an elected position and no upper management on it, it really spoke to the heart of our company of trying to hear the people. And you can hear that in a different way when you are just letting the people choose, okay, who wants to be on this team? And it has nothing to do with how long you've been here, your performance, your title, or anything. It's just chosen. And so it really, to me, spoke volumes to Meador Staffing, even wanting to dig to that level to say, hey, I really want to hear what you have to say, receptionist. I really want to hear what you have to say, recruiter, at all levels. And our culture crew did that. Our culture crew started I think our first meeting was in October of 2019. So we serve as a 1-year position, and then there'll be a new election after that. So we do have such a great structure. Ryan, in all honesty, from day one, rolled out a proposal to us of what this culture crew would look like and how this committee would operate. So it covered information such as just expectations for membership. We have an agenda every meeting to keep us on track. We had to sign something as well, the importance of attendance. And we only meet once a month on this at our culture crew. But the dialogue, me meeting the accounting, getting to talk with the accounting department more than I've ever talked to, hearing their voices. When Ryan says everyone's represented, it is truly every department, every branch, everyone is represented in this company that's chosen throughout, not just the recruiter side or the business development side. So I appreciate that about this committee. And we typically meet for about an hour and a half or two once a month.
Absolutely. And it's great. And we really encourage each other to be real and authentic because, you know, these people really establish the heartbeat of the company. And, you know, if you're listening and you want to really kind of dive into this a little bit more, feel free to reach out or ask any questions. But the way that we like to run our meetings, like Kristi said, we have an agenda that is relevant to holidays going on or different incentives that we can do, different needs of clients, even different needs of the people, especially. And the societal times that we're in, it's so important that your people are being authentically heard and not just, you know, being listened to one ear out the other. Having a group listen to each other's needs and needs of their peers and really expressed is so important. And it makes sure that we as a company are living out our values, what we say when we believe that everything that we do matters. It matters to the people. It matters for our external image. It matters to our brand, you know, and then always being a positive and optimistic team player. We take that seriously. It sounds almost kind of surface level and, you know, cheery or whatever, but it's true. We really do feel that way on this team, especially. We've really deeply connected. And Kristi's a wonderful leader because of her position in the community that she serves is just, I mean, most of you on here probably know Kristi, I'm sure, if you're watching, which is probably why you logged on just to see her. Who are we kidding? But honestly, you know, it's such a great way to represent the branches in your company, have them heard, and then pass that dialogue up to leadership. So leadership is hearing the voice of the people, hearing the concerns that can't be ignored. So that's how we like to utilize our culture crew. We really do encourage each other to be honest. And you can attest to this, I'm sure. We have talked about some pretty serious things, you know, that have really helped us grow as a unit, and it's helping us grow as a company. We're really hoping to see that even more come to fruition in the coming years as this group evolves and more people are represented and get to serve on the committee, that they see that this is our heart at Meador Staffing. This is who we are. We want to love and serve our own people and hear them. But Kristi, I have a question for you. You know, living your brand promise, you live and work outside of the doors of Meador Staffing, being an account manager, serving our clients. How do you take Meador Staffing's culture and let your clients see that, or potential clients? How do you take that and show them who we are at Meador?
Gosh, and I don't want to just overuse the word, but it still backs into your character. And the way to me to show people that you care, you almost feel funny. You should feel so funny talking about it because it's just got to be who you are inside, you know? I mean, and we all have to practice certain habits when we want good habits to form. We have to practice them. I come from a large family, and I was the youngest of 7. And so, you know, when you're the youngest, you sometimes hurry and try to get your words in because everybody's talking over you because you're the youngest and you want to feel heard, you know. So I had to practice better how to listen, you know, and this gives me that opportunity in the culture crew, talking with clients, being in the community, how to be a listener, how to listen. So that's one way, but there are multiple ways, in all honesty, to display this from Meador Staffing, but even from just a standpoint as just developing my character better. and wanting to share that culture, that character that I get, the same that I see imitated within my own company. So that's the way I take it to the community, is being a listener to the community needs, being a listener to your clients and their needs. Learning, I was talking to my family even this morning. I recently had the opportunity to talk with a company that may be potentially moving here from South Korea. So the fact that I want to do my homework, I don't just go into conversation thinking, oh yes, I automatically know, I know what they're talking about, and no. So just in order to show them that you care by taking time to learn about that particular culture before you engage in conversation of some of the do's and the don'ts of working with other cultures. But all of this translates into what you take out in the field, how you work with your clients, and how you work just with humans in general, in all honesty.
That's so good. That's so true. And it goes back to those core values. You're believing that everything you do, doing your homework, it matters to gaining that client, to learning about them, and being giving them a warm welcome when they're here and saying, hey, we're ready to serve you. We know everything about you.
Yes.
That much, we really, really do, and want to show you how much work we put in to do so.
Right. And taking time to learn someone's history. When you're talking about culture and you're trying to because our goal as a culture crew committee is to retain and to engage our people. And in order to do that, part of that, I'm going to need to learn the story behind the people. So to take time to learn someone's story, take time to learn that story, whether it's a client or an employee or a colleague, it doesn't matter. I think it shows that you care.
Absolutely. That's so good. It's true. And you're right. Listening is really the biggest thing that you can do as far as culture, goes, because if you have your ears open and you're ready to listen instead of use your mouth to tell and dictate everybody what's going on, then you can truly morph your culture into who your people are wanting it to be or how you're wanting it to be. Now, your core values will be that foundation to create boundaries as to where that culture can extend to, because you don't want just free reign. Again, character, like you said, Kristi, is really everything. And those core values should create a character a standard of character that everybody should really seek to achieve and represent. Quickly, at home, people, I know you've worked at home a lot lately. We've had to, all of us have. I work from home usually. And so it's odd, it's hard. A lot of you I know have questions of how do you make sure your culture trickles into people working at home, and how difficult it is. And I think it still relates, Kristi, to what you're saying, is that character, that discipline, if you will, being that same person at your desk at home or on your computer or your laptop, wherever you are, on your couch, you're still that disciplined character, that person, and you're at work, even at home. Some tangible takeaways that you can do if you're listening and your people are at home, or you're an employee working from home, is keep the same schedule that you do. If you're a manager, check in on your people more. It's really important that you keep communication going, and express to your people that it's not micromanaging. You just need to check in on them more, because you don't see them. You can't just look over and they're there. You really need to see how your people are doing. There's so many added stressors right now, and it's important that everybody stays on point and performs, because that's normalcy. That's not only raising engagement, but that's keeping everybody's head level when we're performing well. But Kristi, do you have anything to add? I know we're wrapping up soon, but do you have anything to add as far as culture at Meador, or maybe some wins that we've done on the culture crew real quick? Do you want to share any of those?
Sure, just some quick wins we've done here just to help create a fun atmosphere and boost morale. Is Jean Day every Friday. We had Spirit Week in December when we celebrated our 52nd anniversary here at Meador Staffing. We had a picnic and indoor-outdoor fun that every individual branch or department could create a picnic day, took photos and put it on Facebook here for Meador Staffing's Facebook page. So those are fun things that some of the culture crew things that we've done here. And there's much more to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So is there any other questions that has come through that you know of, Ryan, or
I'm not seeing anything. You see
anything? Okay.
there?
Yep. Nope. It doesn't look like any questions, but it looks like our time is up. So we want to certainly thank everyone for listening in, and we hope that you enjoyed it. Feel free to reach out to us. If you have any other questions about the Culture Crew, I want to start a committee like this within your company.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Thank you.